Okay, so now that the audio is working. Oh my god. Okay, for context here, for now that it's actually working. I recorded a video and there was no audio besides me just talking. And this is fucking scuffed. Oh my god. We are not taking it from the top. Here we go. We're gonna start this. Soslin's back. He's got a podcast. Jesus loves you or some shit. He's been writing articles. He's been working his ass off. I've been too busy to do shit. Been doing Dungeons and Dragons podcast shows. Been building a bathroom. Now you're all caught up. We're talking about Roe v. Wade. I believe the states have the rights to do whatever the hell they want based on what the voters want to do. Soslin believes that something similar. He doesn't want to kill people. Did I miss something?
Don't forget, are giving incentives for people to save until they're ready to have kids. $250 a month for a woman.
Okay. Which, I don't know about your state, but we have WIC, women, infant, and children, for when they're pregnant. So that is a technical taxpayer incentive, which is free with restrictions. But, yeah, man, I can't believe I fucked this up. It's so bad. Hashtag fuck technology.
Hey, good thing this is all unscripted. Well, not unscripted, but they're unfiltered because my side has been also jacked up too. So we're in the same boat.
I'm gonna name this video "You Fucking Idiots." Like, this is terrible.
Or what can't go right?
God damn it. Okay.
So what are your thoughts on the Supreme Court justices finding their houses and targeting their houses? What do you think?
Well, it's a federal crime.
Yeah, but how come there hasn't been anything done against it?
Because Democrats don't care.
Well, but doesn't it show the true hypocrisy of Law and Order? Doesn't show the true hypocrisy, and that's a frustrating part. It shows the true hypocrisy.
Law and Order only exists for those that have power. If you have power, the Law and Order is in your control. If you don't have power, Law and Order is not in your control.
And it's frustrating because
absolutely.
Because those Supreme Court justices their houses are at stake and they have families living there. But I don't know. That's this whole Roe versus Wade thing is just kind of interesting. But another interesting topic that comes to mind is the theatrical show of the January 6th.
You mean the hearing that has no actual hearing aspects to it? It's just people talking about things
and talking around in circles and making up stories. For instance, making up stories stating that President Trump leaped over to the driver's side and grabbed the gun and next thing you know, the horse came back and he barebacked the horse and he went bull riding all of a sudden.
I love how fast that got shot down because the driver and the security guard was like, "No, we'll testify. That never happened." And then she shut up immediately.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing is, if you look at it, it's literally physically impossible for somebody to leap over unless it's physically impossible because you see how big the beast is in person. You can't you can't fall, you can't leap into the car because it's so big and there's barriers between thick plexiglass. Because I was in the military, so we would deal with the beast and there was you can't get through the window actually.
Right, and that's usually anyone's ever been in a limo, they will know that there is a separate compartment that separates driver from passengers because if there's an easy access, they cannot have liquor in the limo.
Yes.
So that's I don't understand how it's a small window that can go up and down, but it's 16 inches tall by 20 inches wide. And Trump's a big guy. He's not getting in there.
Nobody's getting in there. And see, and what a cowardly move.
It's expected.
Hugging Liz Cheney, thinking it was the end of the. Well, I think it's funny because I think Liz Cheney is. Well, no, actually, and speaking of January 6th, one of the committee members that was on the January 6th committee, he got primaried out in South Carolina that voted for it to impeach Trump. He got primaried out.
Yeah.
So he lost. And you're seeing, what do you think about along with this thing? What do you think about Liz Cheney? Do you think she'll be primaried out?
Oh, I think she's retiring. I think she's out. I think
And
she's
she's running
done.
for re-election.
She won't. She won't make it. I definitely don't think she's gonna make it at all.
But why do you think the people on January 6th committee members are getting primaried out from Trump endorsement people? Why do you think that is? As a libertarian, why do you think that is?
I mean, it's because people are looking at the gas pumps and being like, "I'm not voting Democrat anymore." That's the
But they're
reason why.
but they're Republicans, like the only Republicans. Like Liz Cheney's a Republican. The guy from South Carolina is a Republican.
Are they? Are they really
Well,
though? Look at their voting records. They've
yeah, I know.
destroyed and tarnished the name. They've essentially taken a giant knife and said, "Don't worry, I'll vote for you." Stab, stab, stab. You voted for this. Stab, stab, stab. That's Liz Cheney and the South Carolina guy. Just terrible.
And Mitt Romney.
Well, Cocaine Mitch. How far you want to go?
Yeah. Well, and Lindsey Graham.
The fucking drunk with.
On and it's just, I mean, it's like, so and it's interesting how I'm finding out like how they're so worried about democracy. What is the difference? Why do you think, it's stating that we have to protect our democracy, and that's what the January 6th committee is? It's protecting the democracy. Do you think that there's a big difference between the democracy and a republic? What do you think the big differences are for your listeners or viewers?
So, America technically is not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic.
Okay.
Because we have 50 states voting to choose the direction of the country. That is a constitutional republic. The only thing that we have that is a democracy is the House of Representatives. That is the only aspect that is a democracy based. Now, I think that we need to look at adding an amendment to the Constitution to where House and Senate members are not allowed to make any more money than the average median, plus or minus, say, 10 grand, during their time in office. They're not allowed to make any money outside of what they get from the government from any source. And if they have a 401k or whatever, that has to be locked behind something, and they cannot talk to their advisors at all. Because we will see so much change if we get rid of the corruption that's in there. Because we have, I want to say, like just a festering pool of acid just eating everything that goes through the White House. Or not the White House, but the Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting how, so I just find it interesting how Nancy, so it's interesting, you look at, for instance, you look at the net worth, and the insider trading is the one that's destroying their, pretty much it's like, for instance, you look at Cawthorn, there was a stock meme called Let's Go Brandon meme.
Yeah. The
that ended up
FJB
being,
coin or something.
yeah, and it shot way up, and what happened is that he pulled it out and stuff, so he knew it was gonna rock and stuff. He made over like millions of dollars, and then once it started crashing, he pulled out.
Yeah.
See that's a problem, and it's not just the Democrats; it's both the Republicans as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where, and that's where it's frustrating because, I'm sorry, Nancy Pelosi should not be bringing in $120 million a year
Yeah, no.
for
No.
what she does. She
No.
should not be bringing. Plus, well, half of it goes to liquor, so she's drunk it. Because clearly, yeah, her husband is. And what about her husband? I mean, shouldn't she be? Oh yeah, her monthly income is over $1 million, at least over $1 million. Her monthly income is.
Corruption's gonna corrupt.
And her husband, her husband who's like does Goldman Sachs and stuff, is in charge of Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
He was not. He just got slapped on the hand, and he didn't get a single thing. For hitting some. Oh, didn't he hit somebody or what?
I know it was a DUI charge, but that was all I know.
Oh, I thought he hit something.
No, he might have hit a phone pole or something, but I know he got hit with a DUI and then was on the streets the next day. Like, no issue.
And the DUI was dropped.
Of course it was.
Yeah, because Nancy Pelosi went on her knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to have that leg. No, so it's just interesting how I think this whole. So what do you think President Trump has a huge? You look at the Republican Party right now.
Yeah.
You look at Alaska. You look at
Yeah.
Sarah Palin, the new thing. You look at Mike Kowalski or whatever. Do you think that President Trump has a huge weight on the Republican Party? What do you think?
I think.
Or is it mostly DeSantis?
So I think that if Trump runs and DeSantis doesn't, we could see Trump win pretty well. I'm not going to say huge landslide, but pretty well, because we know the media is going to drag him through the mud again. But if it is a Trump DeSantis ticket, we're going to see probably a 47 state landslide. I really think that, because DeSantis knows a lot of what he's talking about because his wife was in the media. So she's giving him an exponential boost on, like, okay, here's what they're talking about. Here's what you need to do. Go do it. And then he just goes out and does it almost flawlessly. And everyone appreciates his, no, fuck you attitude. Like, it's Trump, but professional. Like, that's,
Yeah.
I know you're probably on Truth Social and you see what Trump tweets all the time, or Truths. And
It's
he is just a
fantastic.
fucking madman when he does shit like that. And he's like,
It's funny.
talking about unhinged, man. That just goes and goes and goes.
It's funny. I love it.
And
You know,
that's
we
and
do
that's the
that.
thing, is the average person sees that and they have a sense of humor and they're like, that's pretty funny. And that's
And-
the reason why he's so popular.
And he can relate to people too.
Oh, absolutely. Well done steak with
See,
ketchup.
Yeah, and see, see, he can relate, and see, that's the thing that to me, if I'm voting, well, and it's funny because I was interested. You know, the candidates on the Republican running for 2024. So, right now, now, do you think it's looking like President Trump is hinting at 2024? Is hinting he's running?
I mean, he
And
said he's refurbished his plane.
yeah,
The
it's working on it.
757 working on it. Like, come on. That's a precursor to him saying, I'm running, ladies. Like,
Yeah. I think it's only a matter. I think it's only a matter of days before or not only a matter of days, only a matter of months, because he's having massive rallies. But the problem, and here's why I think it's a huge thing. His endorsements. Look at the people he has.
yeah.
Look at the following he has, and look how much big of a weight he has on the GOP.
Well, yeah. Because he's a populist. And a lot of populists like other populists, and they hate the establishment.
And see, and that's the thing, is that I see that there's more of a shift. And what do you think about the new populist versus the establishment? Do you see like the establishment kind of being forced out by DeSantis and Trump, or no?
Oh, it makes me happy to see the populists are winning. It makes me very happy. Because they are less likely to take bribes. They're less likely to go against the people that they talk. They say something, they're going to do it the best way they can. And that's what a populist does, usually. And they're not all about like, oh, we got to help my corporation. No, they're like, we got to fix these roads. Or we really need to work on the mental health crisis of America. Like,
Yeah.
we need to get drugs off the street. Like, that's a lot of the populist mentality. And that's more or less why libertarians are becoming more Republican in name. Because they're like, we're not going to win as libertarian, but we can win as a Republican because it's not a Democrat. Like, that's
Yeah.
it's a lot
So
of
do
it.
you see President Trump as more of a libertarian mindset?
I see him as a 2008 Republican, which is so like you've got your center line here.
Yeah.
This is like standard, dead center of the aisle. He's
The
this far
established.
right. He's like this far right. Not very much. Where DeSantis is probably over here more. And then you've got like Bernie Sanders was here and now he's over here. Like, that's where he was. That's where I think he's at officially. Because he's all about guns. He loves guns. He loves the people of this country. And he really does respect a lot of people. But the media outlook has made people brainwashed. And,
Yeah, and-
it's a very
it's-
hateful community right now.
And it's very noticeable. You see that big decisive between what the media does. And you know, I thought it was funny because that CNN Plus, I don't know if you downloaded the app and stuff.
I did not. The thing died in less than 30 days.
Man, what do you expect when what do you expect when you have like a whole bunch of, I mean, compared to Fox Nation, and you know what they try to do, right? They try to copy what Fox Nation does.
Okay.
So Fox Nation is kind of like they originally came up. So Fox Nation, I have Fox Nation. That has Greg Gutfeld. That has President Trump rallies. That has the Tucker Carlson exclusive where he interviews all these high-profile people that are on both sides.
Okay.
And they have podcasts and they have all these things, and it's very affordable. But what CNN tried to do is that they tried to copy off of what CNN, they try to copy off of Fox Nation onto their app. So all they put was like more liberals, and they put like, I kind of looked into it. I actually downloaded the app to see what kind of looked like. I'm like, I'm not paying $6.99 for this garbage. And it ended up like seeing what inside Trump's White House. That was one a show. Okay.
Right.
Number two was exclusive with Andrew Cooper,
Yeah.
Chris Wallace, Inside with Chris Wallace, or Living Life with Chris Wallace.
Right.
I mean, it's like I'm like, I'm not paying $6.99 for garbage, and it's all opinion based. I thought it was funny because it shows you that CNN is. Why do you think CNN is tanking? Along with, you see that CNN is tanking, MSNBC and CNNBC. Do you think people are actually starting to see through like your normal people are, or what?
I think after a while of people just hearing Trump bad, Orange Man bad, Trump bad, all that stuff, like just they're like, we want actual news. Like, I've noticed a lot of people have been leaving mainstream media and going to independent creators like Tim Pool. You've got The Quartering. You've got Jimmy Dore, Viva Fry, Glenn Greenwald. He's actually a really good, more, I guess, democratic guy. He's kind of unbiased, but he is a little biased, but that's fine. And then you got Crowder, of course, because he's technically a journalist, even though like he's not really a journalist, but he technically is.
But he's funny though. Crowder is hilarious.
Ever since he added Lando to his streams, it has been top notch.
Yeah.
Like, just amazing. It's really great to see somebody who has no idea what's going on talk about the political world. He's like, wait, that happened? Like, hold on.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, and it's like, and it's pretty sad that you have the trust that's in the media just dropping, like tanking.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows you, and it gets old, really old, because all they do is that, they either focus on COVID, and you can see the distortion. You can see how, for instance, they talk about how great Biden really is, but like no one's really talking. Like, you can talk about that so much, but I mean, half of those people are talking about, those CNN people don't even have, like, they're not in reality. They're not
No.
in reality of what you and I are in.
Yeah.
What your average everyday American is. They have like people that shop for them, people that fill up gas for them, and people that drive for them. So they don't look at the pumps.
Right.
And they have electric cars, and they can brag all about it. And they even have private planes. See, that's a frustrating with the media, because I thought the media, when I first came to America from Russia, I thought the media people were your average day Americans that lived a day in and day out, not bringing in $1.2 million in a year just to sit behind the camera looking pretty and being out of touch.
That's the goal.
well, but also the goal is to have sense of reality along the way.
Right.
And that, hey, I can relate to you. Let's actually talk about something relatable, not like talk about something that's like out of touch and who knows what. See, that's frustrating, and that's and you look at what happened is, and it's interesting how CNN now has to say that, okay, maybe Biden isn't doing a good job after all. I love that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just interesting, and I just love how the media is now like stating, okay, maybe he wasn't the best fit. And then it's interesting how, so the other question then I've been kind of also thinking about, and I kind of want to ask you is, your 2024 ticket, who do you think okay, so I'm going to name, who do you want on the Democrat side and who do you want on the Republican side? And I'll name mine.
On the Republican side, I would really love to see DeSantis run to be the main ticket. I would love to see DeSantis as the main ticket. But realistically, I think it should be Trump DeSantis, because then you'll see Trump win, and then hopefully DeSantis wins 2 terms after that.
Yeah.
On the Democrat side, as a gag, I kind of want to see Buttigieg and Harris run together. But realistically, I think it's going to be Biden and Buttigieg.
Ooh.
That's what I think is going to happen.
If Biden's still alive.
I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but like, you look at the other tickets, I mean, Meghan Markle is running. Um, you see Oprah Winfrey is running.
Is she really?
Yeah,
That's new to me. I did not know that.
yeah. Michelle Obama is thinking about it.
She's not gonna run.
Hillary Clinton is actually running.
Ah, of course Hillary Clinton's gonna fucking run.
She's stating that fourth time's a charm. Uh, and she, well, I don't want. Do you think it'll be Trump and Hillary again with Joe Biden as the running mate?
Oh, I hope fucking not. I hope not. Because then
Why
I'm
not?
only going to hear, it's her time. It's her time. It's she's time to win. Isn't that offensive to bleeding people? Saying it's her time? Like, I don't think that's really appropriate to say out in public. Maybe that's just me.
Well, I don't know. According to Bill, it's nothing's appropriate with Bill. Where, he's like, "Where's my next gal at?" Or, well, it's interesting.
You come
So-
here for my saxophone?
Yeah. Where's the? I can't find the curtain stains. Can you, honey? So no, I think, for me, and AOC is running now,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Because she hasn't come out outright and said it. I think she's testing the waters for it. But, man, could you
She's
imagine?
psychotic.
Can you imagine if Harris and AOC ran? Can you imagine
That'd be
how much of a
psychotic.
train that would be?
Yeah, Harris would be laughing the whole entire time.
Oh.
And then I mean I wouldn't, and it's interesting, well, with Harris and Nancy, yeah, I just can't fathom it. Well, okay, so I could see, let's see, well, I don't see Joe Biden running because I don't think he'll make it through the primaries. I hate to say it.
I
Because
mean,
he's got-
you're not wrong. You're not
I
wrong.
mean, no, because his own party's trending on him.
Well, yeah, we knew that from day one. It was a matter of time.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, and also the party's trending on Harris as well.
Well,
So I think it's
nobody liked Harris to begin with.
no, I don't know what. Yeah, no one, and apparently like Joe, and even Joe Biden doesn't like Harris either.
No.
So that, and neither does her son. Neither does. It doesn't like his stepmom, Hunter Hunter Crack doesn't like his
Yeah.
own stepmom. So no, I think it's going to be from the Democrats. I could see. Well,
They got
I could
nobody.
see
That's it.
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg, really? You think he's gonna run?
He's got the money.
That's about it.
And then Pocahontas.
I don't think she's gonna run either. I really don't.
Okay.
She lost a lot of her credibility with that stunt she did. I really
With
did.
what?
Like, I
Pocahontas?
am a Native American. Well, turns out that's wrong. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm also Jewish. Apparently, I also came out wrong too. Where's my nightcap at?
Right. Hey
Um,
now,
no-
now. It's a yarmulke. Let's be honest.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Um, let's see. Well, for the Republicans, I think it's dumb for Mike Pence to run. I hate
Oh.
to say it.
Oh, I thought Mike Pence was a piece of shit when he was the governor of Indiana.
Yeah,
Like,
I think and I think for him to announce his running, I think it's very cowardly, and he knows that he's already tarnished his political career, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So he's dumb enough to run, and I don't think Mike Pence is even going to have a chance. through the
Look,
primaries.
Hank Hill's father has no reason to be running in the goddamn political race anymore.
No. So I think for the Republican side, I could see Trump as the main ticket, and then DeSantis as the vice president. And so that's
Yeah,
for the
that's it.
Republican side.
That's
Yeah.
really it. Like, that's all they have.
But it's odd how they have Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney. Let's see, Tucker Carlson is considering a bid.
Ted Cruz is considering it again, too.
Rand Paul.
Oh, man. I would love to see Ron Paul run. I really do.
But he's not going to have a chance.
No. He missed his shot years ago.
Yeah, and neither is Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Rand Paul is not going to have a chance either. I don't know. I just think I don't know. I think what happened is that, it's going to be interesting with looking at midterms. So what are your thoughts on midterms going on right now?
Well, I think with the midterms that's going to happen, we're going to see pretty much the setup for what's going to happen with 2024. And I think if there is a complete and utter tsunami of red that takes over a lot of different areas, we're gonna start to see actual like the next primaries really start to take shape. Because I don't know how Democrats can win with all this stupidity going on. Like,
Yeah.
especially with Biden saying, you're going to pay as much as we tell you to for gas until we win the war in Ukraine. It's like, what do you mean? This isn't even our war. But we're supposed to be sympathetic to Ukraine. So we also send, another 9 million barrels of gas or something
No, it's 400 million barrels.
at the total. But he just sent another 9 million barrels to the war effort, quote unquote, even though there was a small section that went to Russia, China, and some of the EU members. Like,
So
for what
we're
reason?
so pretty much, yeah, this whole Ukrainian war and stuff, it's starting to get old really quick. Did you see what happened today? So we sent in 400 more million dollars in aid to Ukraine.
Yeah,
So that was today.
yeah,
So the bigger question is why, and you're seeing where the priorities are, where the priorities of America really is.
right.
And that's where, I understand, like, people are, I understand innocent people are dying, but it's becoming like Vietnam. I hate to say it.
Oh, probably.
And when Joe Biden's, when he went to the Norway and stated, "Hey, you guys are going to see what Ukraine's like," while eating a pizza, and then you guys are going to see what Ukraine's like, and you're going to do all this, and and then what the State Department had to go and backtrack what he said and say, well, he didn't really mean that. I think a lot of people are starting to see through that, and a lot of people are like, no, there's no hope. Like, they're finding no hope and stuff, and there's no truth or no leadership whatsoever, and people are starting to see through that. It's frustrating.
Oh, it is very frustrating. Sorry, I don't mean to be looking the other way. I'm looking up for this article I found earlier. Like, I'm listening, but like I'm looking for this article. Here we go. From timcast.com. Army cuts pay benefits from 60,000 unvaccinated National Guard reserve soldiers. Army declines exemption requiring at the rate of 99%. So essentially, 22,000 reserve soldiers who have refused the vaccine have been relieved from military duty, cutting them off from all benefits and hitting them with a medical discharge. What do you think about that?
Are they still on that vaccination garbage?
Yep. This was released today.
Yeah, that's just wrong. So much. Thank you for your service, huh? So much for putting our troops forward. Well, it's okay. Those benefits are maybe they can just stir up their American citizenship and come up from the border. And they'll get
Right.
baby formula and they'll get rich.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
in this article they put together with the total of 600 or 60,000 National Guardsmen being removed from duty. The compared to that with the average 5-year data, 2,000 people left because of hypertension medical disorder, 1,000 left because of nervous system disease, 680 for multiple sclerosis, 500 for Guillain-Barré syndrome, and 400 people left for breast cancer. That was the only medical exemptions that they ever put out in the last 5 years, which is only roughly 7,000 people. So for them to lay off 60,000 National Guard, that is ridiculous. That pretty much tells me we don't have a National Guard anymore.
No. That's scary to think, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, so
Because
we're pretty much telling our adversaries, let me bend over for you. Please come in. Take our shit. Start with California.
yeah. Well, it's psychotic, and what they're doing is that they're trying to strip away, and again, it's a deterioration of the state's power.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
See, you're seeing that where, okay, well, if we can knock off the National Guard, if we can bring it to federal, like, military and stuff, then we have control of the federal military, and then we can get rid of National Guard, so they're no longer needed. That way, we can force people into compliance to go into FEMA camps.
Right.
And see, and to me, that's the whole thing. Is just, you're seeing, like, it's psychotic, but with the midterms and stuff, do I really think it's going to be a red wave? They're still got, like, they're going to still cheat.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, because they are, I believe it was Arizona just released the data showing that mail-in drop-off boxes are illegal against their own state constitution. Also, you have to be in person to vote, and you have to have your driver's license be registered to vote in order to do it. They are not doing mail-in ballots at all because they're unconstitutional to the Arizona state. Pennsylvania is doing the same thing. So is, I believe, Wisconsin is doing something similar.
Wisconsin said that drop boxes were illegal, but mail-in ballots were okay.
Okay. I also think that they're working on making sure that I'm gonna double check myself later, and I'll put up the article in case I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure they're also doing to make sure that the vote counting are going to be one day and one day only. If
It's on election day.
Yes, any votes come in after election day is over within the 24-hour period of them starting, I believe at 7 a.m. So from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. is what they get to count. Any votes after that, immediately disqualified. Which is
Yeah.
helpful and hurtful at the same time.
But the question is, why couldn't we put it in those places before 2020? I mean, and well, look at what Maricopa County did, though. Maricopa County put them all in Sharpies,
Yeah.
and they still voted in person, but they put them all in Sharpies. So that was all automatically null and void.
Yeah.
And then you brought in this yo-yo, Mark Kelly, who doesn't know a single thing. And that's why I think they're going to cheat anyway. They're going to find a way.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Do you think voting machines should be used?
No, absolutely not. If China, Russia, North Korea, let's see, other third world countries that hate our guts, and Iran, Pakistan, Israel, if they can all vote in paper, then even England, why do they all vote in paper and they don't use machines? That's my question.
Okay. What if it was taxpayer funded with open source code?
No, I don't like voting machines anyway. I don't like electronic voting because that you open up too much of a gateway for people to go in from China and Italy and Germany to go into the software systems, and you can like skew with the number. All comes within a chip, even with or without a Wi-Fi. All you have to have is a malfunction, and you go in somebody, and then you replace a chip, and then you can configure it, and then you can change it to wherever you want.
But here's the trick. With open source coding, you can actually see when the changes happen.
What's wrong with paper voting? What's wrong with voting like
we gotta save the trees, don't you know? I'm kidding. I'm with you. Paper voting is the way to go. And honestly, with a lot of phones nowadays that are connected to your social security number through, contracts, why can't you vote on your phone?
Yeah. That's where I think America's dumb.
Oh, yeah.
America's got to be the dumbest country. I know I shouldn't say that, but America's got to be the dumbest country that I think I've ever lived in. Because if we're so like, oh, we got to protect our votes and we got to make sure like no bad people get on there. Well, let's vote in person. Let's vote in person on paper and like, let's have somebody count. And it doesn't take forever to count because they're like, well, it takes forever to count in person. I'm like, well, you have to count in person anyway. Once you put the thing in the machine,
right,
you have to double count it. And anyway, so get rid of that thing.
You know what about Scantron machines? Because those aren't really, you can't really do, all they do is they count dots. Like we use them with our education system. So Scantron machines, you get your paper ballot, you hand it to them, they run it through the machine to get an approximate count, and then they can do a hand count to make sure the numbers are about accurate. It's good for, a double check system.
Well, then you have, I like that idea, but why not paper?
It's still a paper ballot. It's still a paper ballot.
Well, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that like are willing to count. There's also plenty of people that are like, I hate to say it, but there's going to be more eyes on this election than ever before.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that you look at what happened with Pennsylvania.
I think all the voting booths, or not the booths themselves, but the area, should be live streamed 24/7 while they're there. That's what I think. That every area that's counting has to be live streamed. And that would solve so many issues of, they're doing it in secret. They're like all these other cheating. Well, it was live streamed for everybody to see. They've already started doing this with court cases because of COVID. So why not?
Yeah. oh, it's because of our rights. We gotta keep it private. No, I'm not telling you who do you vote for. No, and and see, and another thing is like you look at what happened in Georgia with the Senate election. I thought it was interesting because I stayed up and watching the whole thing, saw it with my own eyes, and they cheated actually. And it's interesting how, they. It just blew my mind how like they're so deceitful. And why isn't there any accountability going on?
Well, would you want to be accountable for something like that?
Well, I
That's
want
damn
I
near in
want just
treason territory, I think.
yeah. I think I want somebody to be there needs to be accountable. People need to be held accountable for their actions. And with all black ballot harvesting is another one.
Oh, yeah, that should
You
be
know that,
outright illegal, anyways.
but why is it? But in California and New York, it's legal.
I mean, I don't know because each state handles their own system, and it's kind of based on who votes them to be in. So they get what they voted for.
Yeah,
And
I
it's a
don't know.
sad truth, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. So what did you think of the primary in Pennsylvania? Like, I want your thoughts.
I'm not familiar with it.
The Pennsylvania primary with Doctor, it was a four-way race with Dr. Oz, and how the Supreme Court ruled in Dr. Oz's favor.
I don't remember that at all. So let me look here. NBC News: Pennsylvania Senate primary election results. Oz wins GOP race. Democrats pick Fetterman. Okay. What's the other results here? So we've got Oz got 31.2 and Dave McCormick got 31.1. That's a stupid tight race. Holy shit.
McCormick,
McCormick
that
got
was by
1% less than he did.
is by 151 votes.
That should have triggered an automatic recount.
951. Sorry, it was by 951 votes.
Yeah, that should have triggered an automatic recount.
Yeah. Well, let's see, and Fetterman and yeah, and see, the whole thing is okay. So what the scary part about that is? Do you think Oz has enough publicity, and do you think Oz has enough people to beat Fetterman?
Probably not.
See, that's a problem.
Although I'm not familiar with John Fetterman at all, but I mean he pretty much took the whole state from what it looks like.
But wasn't he the only one? Oh, yeah, you
He
you
had
didn't know the other people,
58%, yeah.
but no one really knows who the other people were. Lamb, whatever. But
Right.
I think what's gonna help Oz is his name recognition and his Trump endorsement.
Right.
That's the thing that's gonna really push for him. But another thing, but here's another thing I'm finding out in like especially in the state of where I live in Wisconsin. So we recently had Kevin Nicholson, okay,
Okay.
uh, Tim Michaels, and then Rebecca Clayfish, and then we also
Okay.
have Timothy Ramthun and uh, Adam Fisher. So what happened is that pretty much is a two-way race, but Timothy Ramthun's still in, and so is Adam Fisher.
Okay.
Okay, but Kevin Nicholson he suspended his campaign on Friday effective because but Rebecca Clayfish is an established Republican, and Tim Michaels is more of a Trump-backed conservative that knows people, and he's a multi-billionaire running for the state of Wisconsin for governor.
Okay.
Okay,
Let
what
me
do
see
you
if I
think
can pull this
about
up.
the establishment running against what you said, more of a populist? Who do you think would have more of a chance in general election?
In a general election,
Yeah,
uh
so if like, because you've
hmm,
heard of Rebecca Clayfish, right? With Act 10, with Scott Walker.
no, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm
Oh,
not.
okay.
So the way it sounds like to me is you've got a millionaire going against a
A,
populist.
well, you got a billionaire. So Tim
Okay.
Michaels is a billionaire. So he owns
Okay.
Tim Michaels Construction Corporation,
Okay.
and he owns the majority of Michaels stores like all across America. And his dad
Okay.
is like, yeah. So he's a billionaire out of Connecticut.
Okay. And so we got him versus a populist, right?
Rebecca Clayfish, who's an established. So she was lieutenant governor with Scott Walker. She invoked the Act 10, so which got rid of teachers unions.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she's been very flippy floppy on multiple situations, on multiple issues. And so she backtracked, and then she said, "Oh, I didn't mean this," and then she is just very wishy-washy. She's like,
Well, that doesn't sound very sincere, and most people like people who are very honest and earnest about what they're going to do. So they're probably not going to go for her. They'll probably go for the billionaire then.
but the problem is that Rebecca Clayfish has got the name recognition through Scott Walker, because Scott Walker used to be governor, and
Hmm.
that's the problem. And I'm not tell you the truth, I don't like Rebecca Clayfish because she's like a snake. She's a see-through candidate. And how she was the first one to say, hey, the election, there was no cheating in the election, and there was like nothing really happened. And she doesn't seem like a person that, like, she states that she's a fighter, but one thing that she supports is state police, and she doesn't support city police, and she doesn't support like funding your local police department. She's all in support of like your like state police, your state troopers, your state like officials and stuff. So it seems a little bit, she seems kind of out of touch and out of reality once again with your everyday people.
Okay.
And then you have Timothy Rampton, who is also like went on the whole bandwagon of the true vote with President Trump and stuff, and you have him. So I mean, I think it's a little bit, I don't know, it's going to be an onslaught either way for the Republican in Wisconsin, because the biggest thing that I'm finding out is that if you have an established Republican versus a populist Republican, they have such a hard connection between two parties that even after the primary, they're not going to endorse each other. So if one of the populists wins, they're not going to get the endorsement from the established Republican.
Hmm.
See, that's where I could feel like where we're not going to win, it's not going to be a red wave or a red tsunami like other people say, because there's such a hard division even within the Republican Party. Once Kevin Nicholson dropped out, you see a lot of people are like, well, I'm not going to vote for either one of those two candidates. And it's pretty much giving the Democrats a platter. That's why I'm a more of a realistic I'm more of a realistic thinker. It'd be nice to have a red tsunami, but I don't think it's really going to happen.
It makes sense. I get what you're saying. It does make sense. Like, oh, my team lost, so I'm not going to play anymore kind of mentality. But I think there's enough people who are sick and tired of what's going on to actually suck it up and be like, okay, this is better than nothing, that kind of thing. So we might not see the numbers that we want to see for a red tsunami or a red wave, but I think it's going to vary state by state. I really do. Because I've been listening to a lot of people talk in Indiana, and we're a purple state because we've got a lot of good mix and healthy balance between things. And Indiana is sounding to be, nope, throw all the Democrats out, all Republicans. We're sick of this shit. That's what I've been getting from a lot of people in Indiana.
I thought Indiana was going to be a hard. The states. I watch the news and stuff. I think you look at Ron Johnson's race and stuff.
Yeah.
They've already poured in $400 million against Ron Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
And my whole thing is that, do you think, and you look also at, because doesn't Indiana have a Democratic senator?
Yes.
Is he up for re-election?
Yes.
Is he? Have you looked at the polls, and is he going to have a chance?
He has 100,000 votes compared to his Republican counterpart with 480,000 votes. So, no, he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. The Democrat does. He's getting beat by almost 300,000 votes.
The Democrat?
Yes.
But you have a Democratic senator, though.
Who's up for re-election, and he's getting taken out.
Oh, okay.
So the Republican guy coming in has almost 300,000 more votes than the Democrat does.
So do you think if you pour money into it, do you think at this point it doesn't matter how much money gets thrown into it? Because you look at George Soros, and you look at the money that's being thrown in Georgia.
Yeah.
The $3.2 million being thrown at Stacey Abrams. And I think my whole thing is, I hate to say it, but Brian Kemp, and Herschel Walker, I don't think Herschel Walker is going to have I don't really know about Georgia. I think that's going to be.
I think enough people are going to be suffering enough. And if you wanted to campaign correctly, you just simply have to release the numbers of how much people are spending on their campaign. And similar small people will be like, you're spending that much money while I'm suffering on just a campaign? No, I'm done. And that's probably enough to switch a lot of people over because we're in a tight situation. Like people are starting to really strap down how much they're spending. And we're
Yeah.
looking at a major recession right now anyways.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at I keep on telling people I'm like, hey, wait till I buy a house next year when the housing market crashes. Wait till next year. Hold on.
That's when a lot of millennials will actually start making a lot of their wealth back, is by buying houses during the market
Yeah.
crash.
Yeah, and that's what I'm buying. I'm buying in right now and stuff. I'm like, hey, anyway, I see all red. I mean, clearly I see I've lost over 60% of my value. And so
Yeah, my
I'm so
401k shit itself.
yeah. And so I mean, I have two different kinds of ones, and it's like been pretty like way it's just tanked. So I'm buying in right now. But either way, I I mean, I still think, they're stating that Wisconsin is like, Wisconsin's a blue state, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. That's the whole thing that I'm a little bit worried about. Is that I think Wisconsin is because the reason why you have people from Illinois and Indiana coming up to Wisconsin and destroying the state. Like they're moving into Milwaukee and they're moving to Madison and changing the political shift.
It's because we're kicking them out of Indiana. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, and see, and that's where I'm like thinking, okay, this is kind of bad.
well, we
Because
did tell
it's
everybody if you don't like it, find somewhere else to live. So that's pretty much it.
but see, but do you think that there's enough there's because when I think of well, look at Texas though. I heard that Texas is going to be under a blue swing. Well, no, actually, do you think Texas will switch
I think in 20 years, Texas will switch.
midterm? So,
Midterms, I think they're going to stay the same. I don't think they're going to be any deeper or any softer. I think it's going to stay about the same. Because a lot of people in Texas are more politically involved than most of the country.
yeah, but you have people from New York and California, like literally flooding
I
Texas,
know.
and you have them changing the political spectrum. Like they got more electoral votes this time around.
Yes.
They got, and they've got more like extreme. Like Austin is now they call. If you live in Texas and stuff,
Yeah.
I go to Texas quite a bit. They call Austin, California 2.0 because they're so corrupt. They don't have city police, and so and the big deciding factors is the cities that decide the election in Texas are San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston.
So I'm going to just go on a limb here because I don't know Texas that well. But a lot of people who left cities left because of how the city was ran. Whether or not they make the same mistakes of voting with the way they did before is yet to be seen. But I have a good feeling that if they live there long enough, they're going to be like, this is how life is? Well, shit. Maybe I'll just vote that way. That's what I
Yeah.
think. And when they find all the wild hogs running around, they'll be like, oh, that's why you need guns. That's why you need
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, or when you find yeah, I don't know, I don't know, because my whole thing is that but even if we win back the House and even if we win back the House and the Senate, there's got to be a change in the leadership.
Oh, absolutely.
We can't put Moscow Mitch back in. We can't put him back in like in the House. Who do you see? Who do you see like a Republican senator that's like, okay, I could see him taking leadership. Who do you see?
Hmm. It would. The only person who has enough clout to do that with enough pull who's been there long enough is probably going to be Ted Cruz. But he's a senator, though. He's not part of the House.
No, like we're talking about the House and the Senate. So let's talk
All
about
right.
the Senate. So,
So
Ted Cruz.
I think Ted Cruz has enough pull to actually do it because he's been there a while and he's very charismatic and whatnot. Plus, he's working with Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, so that gives him an extra bonus of like, people know him. He's actually willing to
Yep.
talk to people.
Incredibility.
Right. So that's one aspect. Although I'm not entirely sure he would do it. I don't know who would run for the House because the House is a different game altogether, and there's no one with a spine in the Republican Party in the House.
No, and that's scary, isn't it?
I mean,
Remember,
that's just is. That's just,
Margie Taylor Greene.
Oh, MTG, yeah, she'd be interesting to see as a leader, but I think well, her friend Thomas Massey might do it. I
Or
think
Kevin
Massey would
McCarthy.
or yeah, McCarthy could do it,
But
but
Kevin
he's
McCarthy,
kind of a squishy though.
yeah, he needs a stronger backbone.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing, well, here's my whole thing. Okay. The reason why we lost in 20 the reason why we lost we didn't lose that. Oh yeah, we actually lost the House in 2018. The reason why we lost the House in 2018 is because good old Paul Ryan didn't do a single thing and just let Trump
Yeah.
he let him down big time. And that's why this whole thing is because of his leadership that we are in this situation. Because
Right.
each action has a consequence.
Right.
I think that for me, I could see, who I could see from the Republican side, Marco Rubio from the as a senator for being the Senate majority
Rubio.
from Florida.
Yeah. I forgot about him.
Yeah, he's running for re-election from Florida, and I could see him running for like being the Senate leader. I could also see. Well, I would like to see. Let's see. I'm trying to think from the House who's like been very outspoken.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out. Not Kevin McCarthy. Uh, Dang, I'm trying to figure out. um, Matt Gates
Matt Gates. Matt Gates.
out of Florida, District 1.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you now. I'm like the name, the face. I'm
Matt
with you.
Gates. Matt Gates out of Florida. I could see him.
He could
I would like to
definitely
see
do
him.
it.
But is it realistically? I think it's going to be Kevin McCarthy and Moscow Mitch. Sadly, but I think
Probably.
that. But I think. But I think the whole thing is that there's going to be so much populace right now that if we like win back the Senate majority, like huge, I think Mitch McConnell and stuff. I think he's going to have to lean even more right than
Right.
he's already.
Oh
I
yeah.
think, and I think that in order for people to get somewhat kind of a ground game, because the big one is going to be pushing is for impeachment
Oh yeah. Yeah.
for and invoking the 25th Amendment. That's going to be probably the first day in and day out. One of the things that I think could be also a game changer is pushing legislation and pushing bills that are going to be like somewhat, as long as you can say, okay, we tried pushing this, we tried doing all this instead of sitting on our hands, but it got vetoed. But if we get enough of a majority, we can overrule that by 2/3 of a vote in the House.
Okay.
That's what I think of. But are we going to have 2/3 of the House? Probably not.
I
Are we
mean,
going to?
maybe. Let's just say it's a maybe, because we'll have to see through the midterms. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we need 61. No, we need 61 senators at least
Yeah.
to do a full impeachment. So we need 61 senators to do like invoke the impeachment. But it's scary how some of like I mean, it just you look at it and you're like, man, a lot of it's writing. I think there's gonna be a lot more involvement of people voting than what normal people think there is, because I think they're looking at the gas stations, they're looking at the prices, they're like,
Yep.
I had enough is enough,
Oh, absolutely.
and stimulus checks out of California, like which is Gavin, whatever his name is, who's also running for president.
Which is a joke. An
Yeah.
absolute joke.
I think with him, he's stating that he's going to give $1,700 in three different payments, $1,700 different, like each three $1,700 checks for families and for during the duration of the month of July to combat the inflation. No, you wagon.
We're gonna
Given that
combat
that,
inflation with more
but
inflation.
yeah, that doesn't help anything.
Especially in a state where they legalize so much drugs. Like, oh yeah, where's that money going? Straight to the dispensary.
Or straight to the pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey
I just
now,
think
this is my pipe. It's pretty.
crack pipe. I'm talking about crack pipe and acid.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just. I mean, I think we are. I mean, I just think we are in a world of. I think a lot of people are starting to see through, and it's great that a lot of people are waking up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the end. I think. Oh yeah. So trying to think of what else. What else has been on your mind, that politically?
Politically, I don't really know, honestly. A lot of politics have been kind of waning down a little bit. Everyone's doing the summer things, so like there's not a lot of politics out there in the world. I've been looking at, well, recently I've been looking at improving my dungeon master skills for my friends because
Hmm.
that's what I've been doing. And I've also been more or less focused on my Twitch channel with my gaming and whatnot, which is, yeah, it's kind of growing, but I've also been looking at doing advancing in my job to a manager position. So like my world is kind of busy, too busy for politics at times, but I get enough of it from Daily Wire, Crowder, and all of everyone else I listen to. So I have enough to keep up and still talk about things, but ultimately I'm somewhat falling behind quite a bit because it's my busy season really.
Yeah. What do you do again?
I deliver. I'm in part of the delivery aspects of the world.
Oh, you do mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? So what's the manager position that requires then? Are you not going to deliver anymore?
Pretty much. It would put me
Oh,
into
the office.
yes.
Oh, dang.
Yes.
That's a bummer.
Absolutely not. I don't have
Oh,
to use my own vehicle anymore or anything. Like it's fine.
well, so you get to use a government's vehicle?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so okay. What's it like when you do your own vehicle? Like, do they pay for you? Do they pay you for percent per mileage and gas or what?
uh I get 91 cents a mile for maintenance,
Okay.
and that's only been recently updated to 91 cents. So like it was at 79, and because of the gas hike they gave us more, which,
By 2 cents.
well, I mean, the way I put it is it should have been $1.20 because then it would pay for
Yeah.
the state taxes for the fuel, and then it leveled itself out. But uh yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've been kind of like I'm thinking about going. Oh, I'm going back to college. So like that's what I'm thinking about. I've been busy working at the Christian camp I've been attending at, which is
Right,
fantastic. I've been like really busy, but I've also been like involved in like the politics aspect of it. Because I mean, when you're young and stuff, you want to fight. Like you want to fight for what we have. So I mean, before you lose it, like you fight it before you lose it.
right,
I just think I just tell people like we are at a very pinnacle point of we are at a point of no return. We're getting to a point where, look what happened to a country, and I think it was in Europe, I think, one of the countries in Europe where they stormed the president's palace and the president was forced to resign because people were fed up with the gas inflation and were fed up with the
right.
economy. I think we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And we should begin there.
That reminds me, I wanted to bring this up. Fox News brought this up. Let's see if I can bring this up here. Sri Lanka president prime minister resigns after protesters stormed the residence and set fire. Did you
Yes,
see
and
these
they
videos?
yes, and they were swimming in the pool before, and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
protesters were saying that they were like, well, the president had ACs, we were like all dying of heat and stuff, and so like it showed the double hypocrisy of the elitist.
Right. It's
That
absolutely
shows,
amazing. Just all these people rushing into the Capitol building.
yeah, and they burned the prime minister's housing, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, but it's like, but I feel like America's getting to a point where we're getting that same boat, where people are getting fed up and with for instance, a baby formula.
Oh,
You know, why are we relying on other countries for baby formula?
we
I mean,
only had
some,
4 countries doing the baby formula making process, and the FDA shut them down for no reason.
yeah, well, yeah, and see, well, and they haven't shut them. Well, and also Jif peanut butter. We don't have Jif peanut butter in Wisconsin, so we're
Okay.
so like so
Peter
the
Pan
camp
it
on.
is.
Yeah. So like so it's interesting because we're also relying and you look at our shelves and stuff, it's pretty depressing when you are like a toiletry items, tampons and if you're like if you're in Oregon and stuff, you can now men can buy tampons now. And so
I
now they're
mean,
buying
I can go buy tampons right now too, and there's no law against it.
oh, well Okay, I think they made something with birth, like they made something with like birth control, like men can also get birth control. And
Oh,
I think, and it's interesting how we have such a shortage, and there's even a shortage in concrete. And so,
yeah.
like, you see, why? I mean, that's the whole. Why are people like realizing, man, why are we running out of so many things? I mean, clearly something is going on wrong. You know,
Heavy
we're flooding our country.
regulation.
We're flooding our country at the southern border. No respect for law and order. For instance, there was this gal, Miss Hopkins, out of Florida, Sebastian, Florida, that put her mother in the freezer and then put a mattress with leaves and stuff and killed her mother of 93 years old. She killed her and then put her in the freezer back in April. She's been collecting disability since April, and then she had a warrant out for arrest because she failed to show up for court. And then they found her, and now she's on a $10,000 bail bond, and now she's back free. See, and we're seeing the pinnacle point of stating, okay, there's no. I mean, I'm better off being a criminal than being a law-abiding citizen, because at least if you're a criminal, you get free housing, you get free healthcare, you get all these things.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. I mean, there's no repercussions, or there's no nothing. You look at stores that are getting looted. Your mom and pop shops are closing up.
Yeah.
You know, and they're selling that stuff on black market like 4 times the price, especially baby formula.
Right. All right. Well, we're getting to a point here
So
when my
sorry
dog's
about
starting to
that.
bitch at me because she wants
Yeah.
out. So go
So
ahead and spot your stuff in, because I know I got
okay.
it wrong, because I said Jesus loves you and walks the path if I don't fucking know. And I know that's wrong.
So I do a podcast called Remember God Loves You, and I'll meet you at the finish line. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm also on Podbean and Google Podcasts. And if you type in Soslen, Soslen, you'll find it on your Google search engine or any internet things, whatever. I'm also on social medias. Facebook is Soslen Temanson, Soslen, Instagram and Snapchat, Sauceman1776. Give her a follow. Great content talking about building your faith with God and just being able, like, uplifting and spiritual. So I would like to say thank you so much, Stephen, for this opportunity. We should do this again.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just think it's funny how me and you can sit here and I'm kind of an agnostic asshole, and here you are, like, God loves you and meet at the finish line. Like, yeah,
Uh,
he's there.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
We could do it. We
uh,
should probably do a religion show. I kind of want to get a couple of people in on this though, because back and forth just me and you won't be enough. I need to find someone else
no,
to add to it.
you could do a 4-way.
I mean, we could. We'll see how this works. If
Yeah.
technology would work.
Hey, yeah. Hey, it was great doing up. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show, and we'll chat next time. We'll be chatting now,
Alrighty.
private chat, whatever. All right.
Thank you.
Peace out. All right.
I'd like to have everybody know that this was our third recording. Third recording. Like, oh my God. All right. Everyone have a great time. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.